Okay, it's 8:07. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, before you start, it's my understanding, and it is included in the agenda itself, but this is an emergency meeting of the board. Would like to state on the record the nature of the emergency.
Sure. The nature of the emergency is to get our students back in school and approve the contract so that we can do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a recommendation? We did receive a text from Evan Wickersam of GAEA, and he believes that information on the vote will come within about 5 minutes on the vote for the contract. And so I would recommend that we first talk about the settlement agreement.
Roger, you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I do. Just in the order of business, next item is to approve the agenda, right? And so under new D, new business, you have one, which is the 2024-2027 license contract agreement, and there's a presentation. I think it would be appropriate to include in the agenda potential approval of that license contract agreement, either in a D2 or a D1A.
Do I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we also need a vote for the settlement agreement?
I believe you do. The days and the compensation, the recovery deal with things over $150,000 in value, and I believe that is to be approved by the board.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to approve the agenda as modified. I'd like to make a motion we approve the agenda as modified.
That modification includes adding this to it, because this isn't on it.
So now you have two items, and
Right.
good catch. And so there would be let's call it D3, the potential approval of the settlement agreement as discussed.
Okay, so let's vote on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So at this point, we're waiting to hear how the vote turns out. Go ahead, Roger.
Mr. Chairman, this is a public meeting and we have business to discuss. Let's do that.
And I think that Superintendent Gardner suggested we discuss the strike settlement agreement. So we can have some discussion on that. Is that correct? And kind of get that out there if that works.
Any discussion? Anybody want to discuss anything about it?
Oh, yes. This was a hard-fought battle to get even the settlement agreement done, let alone the contract. And I only spent maybe a total of 20, 25 hours out of the hundreds of hours that I know that Sean Taylor spent. I thank you, Sean, for spending so much time in both the collective bargaining and on the strike settlement agreement. Herculean effort. And I can't thank you enough for volunteering your time and spending that time in there and giving it so much of your energy and passion. So I wanted to thank you for that first and foremost. Appreciate it. There's a lot of things that are good about the settlement agreement and some things I don't like, and I guess that's the nature of negotiations. I guess, Jane Nosser and I were talking a little bit about the insurance and the reinstatement thereof. And to be honest, I've been on the fence about this. And then Jane finally, just today, I believe, was able to come up with some reasons why that's important to bring that back. And so I was wondering if it would be okay if Jane spent a couple of minutes talking to us about the insurance and some of the possible liabilities that the district could have been facing if we don't restore that.
Certainly. Today we were talking with OEBB, and the focus had been on health insurance, which would have easily been made retroactive to December 1, either through COBRA or through the reinstatement of the employees. But our employees also all have life insurance, and they have long-term disability. And those two insurances are not as easily made retro. If someone were to be told they had cancer when they were without insurance, they run the risk of that being a pre-existing condition. Or if there were an accident and someone was without life insurance because of a delay. So we learned of liability risks the district faced that I had not known about. And in working with OEBB, the risk is not OEBB's, it's the district's. And so for those reasons, I'm thankful that as part of the conclusion, the board has supported that we reinstate the insurance and make that retroactive back to December 1.
Mr. Morse, Chairman Morse, I would recommend that we do have a short review of the details, and I think I would recommend that Susie just take us verbally through that.
Okay, Susie, do you mind doing that?
No, I'd be happy to. Oh, sorry, I'd be happy to. So first of all, we super happy to be at this point in the game and really want to thank everybody on both sides who worked really hard towards this contract. So our students missed 9 school days, 10 counting today. And so it was super important to us, and I know to the board, that we made that student contact time up. And so we took every day that was in the contract until the end of the year, moving forward, and tried to make teacher grading days and work days student contact time to make up those days. And so January 6th was a teacher work day after the winter break, and now we are going to make January 6th a student day. And then because these days all came out of first semester, and students have different classes in first semester and second semester, we wanted to even that out. So we changed the semester we added a week to the first semester. And so at the end of every semester, there's a full grading day and a full teacher work day. And both of those now will be February 6th and February 7th. And instead of those teacher work day and grading days, they will be student contact days. Then on February 17th, President's Day, in this district, we have historically used President's Day if there's a snow day, but we really needed to make up some student contact days. And so February 17th now, instead of it will be a full student contact day. And so far that's 4 additional student contact days. And then April 11th has always been a staff development grading day, and it will now be a student contact day. And then on the Wednesdays, we do a Wednesday early release, and we are going to have full student days on 2 of the Wednesday early release, and we will get 12 hours that way, which is a day and a half of student contact time. And then June 12th was a half-day student day, half-day grading day, and now that will be a full student contact day. And then June 13th was a teacher workday and now will be a full student contact day on Friday. So we now will end school on Friday, June 13th, and then teachers will have a teacher workday on Monday, June 16th. And so we will have made up 8 of the 10 student contact days that we have missed because of the strike. And so students will be in school for 8 of the 10 days. And then we have added 1 teacher workday at the end of the year for them to do their grades and finish the year. And so just 4 of the days of the strike will not be made up.
So one of the,
Questions?
well, I just add just a little bit. One of the real challenges we have was we learned last year from Portland that when we just thoughtlessly add days back, Portland, if you'll recall, added 5 days back over Christmas break. And it seemed really good as the strike ended that kids and teachers would make that up, and those were very unsuccessful to dip into the breaks. And so we stayed away from Christmas break. We stayed away from spring break. But there's a lot of hard work that's coming up. I was very appreciative of the teachers when we began to advance the concept of these days being converted over to student contact days. At the table, the team was very willing, and they understood that people in this community had stayed at home with kids who had not been in school. And very glad that we were able to put something together here that gets us very close and can help us make up for the lost time.
And I would echo that and tell you that I know that our teachers work really hard and are going to make sure that our students are caught up and that the learning will continue as it always has. So I just want to reiterate that I really believe that the teachers really value the students and will do everything they can to help them be successful.
Any more comments from anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of agenda item.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Comment, yeah. So I just want to say, start off by saying that I appreciate that the GAEA was willing to move off their initial verbal stance of wanting to be made whole without extending the contract year. My top priority going through these negotiations was to ensure that students were in front of teachers for as many days as feasibly possible, given the strike. I'm glad that an agreement has been made on that front and that students will be able to make up as many of the missed days as possible. However, I believe that there is some legal ambiguity regarding the insurance situation in the strike settlement agreement. I have emailed today with both the director of OEBB and the OEBB benefits manager, and they have given me information that is different from what they provided to the district legal team and the superintendent and to the legal counsel. Due to this uncertainty, I can't in good conscience vote yay or nay on the settlement agreement until these discrepancies are resolved. But I am excited that students and teachers will be able to get back in classrooms and the learning can continue.
Okay, I know you're going to call for a vote, so first off, I'll make the statement that due to my wife being a teacher in the district, I'm going to abstain.
And
Just to make that public.
if we make a motion, I imagine it'd be contingent upon successful adoption of a contract?
So I do have, I have receipt of an email from GAEA Rep. Amber Cooper, who just tells me that the ratification occurred by a vote of 87% yes.
Or both.
For, I don't know, it did not say the one, but I believe that the strike settlement agreement was just effective with a signature. And so that is, we are now, it rests on us.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of agenda item D3, which is the settlement agreement as presented and described.
Any seconds?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All abstain?
Abstain.
Okay, so 3 ayes and 2 abstains. Okay, next up, the contract.
Just a couple of quick comments about the contract and the negotiation. Interestingly, the previous contract that this contract succeeds was a 3-year contract from 2021 to 2024. At the time of my arrival in 2022, July 1, the district was bargaining during that contract. And I believe this now makes the I have been here 29 months and have bargained for 27 of them through the last agreement and through the end of the agreement all the way till now. And that obviously has occurred because of many reasons, and it is very complex. But I think we now have a chance for some stability. I look forward to that. And I think it is really important that this focus on this can now be turned to kids and learning and families. Compensation was a huge issue, but it was clearly not the only issue. But we know that the teachers of this district had fallen behind inflation. We know that they were not comparative, particularly our senior teachers at the top end, with other districts. And so it is really gratifying to be able to change that compensation. And we want our people to work here in confidence that they are not losing $7,000 a year at the top end to another district. The other thing I think is significant, even though it took a long time and there was just a lot of dragging work at times, both groups persevered, and we end up here with several fixes that truly are just collaborative processes. We have a collaborative process now to look at our healthcare and the insurance and how we can most efficiently distribute that. We'll be working with a team of teachers on that. We have a district-wide learning system committee, the collaborative steering committee, which began before but is now in the contract. We also have a behavior committee that will look at our health and safety systems and include not just the best interests of the kids, but the best interests of the adults. And we will learn and we can grow through that. So I think we don't have the whole contract. Susie has it in 2 binders that are stacked about this high. That's gonna have to be rendered into a contract, and we'll bring that to you. But we believe that this contract allows the district to be healthier as we move forward. And I'd like to thank everyone on the bargaining team who did that work, including Sean, Dave, Jane, Susie. But I also want to mention the building administrators, the special ed administrator, and the board members who came and went from time to time. I know Ryan Mattingly spent time there, Pete spent time there, Brad spent time there, Roger spent time every now and again doing that. And so it was very much a collaborative effort. Bruce was also able to support at times. And so I am, there's work to do, obviously, to heal, to come together, to let go. But I do believe that this contract has made us a better district, a more collaborative district, and we will work forward optimistically.
Okay, I'll again abstain from a vote on this because my wife's a teacher in the district. Do I hear a motion to vote?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the license contract agreement for 2024 through 2027 as presented and described to us this evening.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1 abstain, 4 and 1. Think we're done.
Mr. Chairman, we get to agenda item F, other business.
Okay,
I do want to take this opportunity to thank the many organizations that helped with childcare during the strike. I visited some of those, and it was just a super effort and heartwarming to see. Just a few that I would want to shout out and personally thank would be the Grove Church, the Albany Boys and Girls Club, and the folks at the YMCA.
yeah, I think that's really important. Our community helped us get through this tough time. So thank you, Roger, for remembering that. That's important. Any other business anyone want to talk about?
there any other agenda items that we didn't clear? We had added a couple. Did we get all to them all?
We got them all. I'll move, no, do I have a move to adjourn?
I'll move that we adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 8:27. Thank you.